Welcome, and thank you for joining us for today's DealerOn webinar, where an expert from Google is going to discuss Google's Automotive Retail Playbook. My name is Eliana Raggio, and I'll be your moderator today. And today's webinar is being presented by DealerOn. For anyone who isn't familiar with DealerOn, we're an award-winning website development company and digital agency, best known for our amazing SEO, the best customer service, and the highest converting website designs in the industry, including the award-winning Chameleon responsive website platform. We're so committed to lead conversion, optimization, and customer service that DealerOn is still the only company in the industry that offers a money-back lead guarantee program. Does your website company guarantee you a 50% lift in leads or your money back? Maybe you should check us out at our gorgeous brand new DealerOn website at DealerOn.com. And by the way, the beard and the hair, that's right, they're headed back to Vegas this October 21st to 23rd to host some sweet breakout sessions at the Driving Sales Executive Summit. It's at the illustrious Bellagio, and they'll be co-presenting, and I love the title of this, Dr. Feelgood's Rockin' Prescriptions to Keep Your Digital Marketing Off the Crazy Train. It's all about getting your SEO and your PPC strategies ready for 2018, so you don't want to miss it. Groups of 4 or more from your dealership can get $100 off of each ticket. To find out more, you can visit DSES.com. We have a great show in store for you today. Woo! We are very pleased to have the one and only Kelly McNerney as our presenter today. Kelly McNerney is the Senior Automotive Retail Strategist for Google. Based in Venice, California, she coaches automotive clients on Google's wide range of solutions, including Google Search, YouTube, Google Display Network, programmatic, and mobile solutions. Her mission is to help automotive retailers make the most of the web by reaching in-market shoppers with the right message at the right time. She's conducted keynote addresses at Digital Dealer, DMSC, the Google Automotive Retail Summit, and numerous OEM-specific conferences. Prior to joining Google, Kelly spent 9 years at ESPN in customer marketing and sales, creating and selling multimedia sponsorship packages for sports advertisers. Kelly is a graduate of the University of Kansas with degrees in journalism and Spanish. She's a Think LA Person of the Year Award winner and is the SoCal Regional Lead on Google Serve, Google's annual volunteerism initiative. By the way, Google will also be presenting at the upcoming Women in Automotive Conference. This amazing event is December 10th and 11th in Palm Springs, California. It's going to be focused on training and retaining women in our industry to improve their skills, advance their careers, and find the highest levels of success. So if you want to make your way to Palm Springs in a couple months, well, heck, we'd love to see you. I'm going to be there too. I'm going to be the MC for this fine event. To find out more about the Women in Automotive Conference, please visit womeninautomotive.com. Oh, I really hope to see you there. Now, during the presentation, if you have any questions, please use the question feature located on the corner of your screen to submit them. At the end of the presentation, we'll answer those questions of general interest. If we're unable to get to your question live, we're going to try to respond by email later today. Don't forget, a link to download a copy of this webinar recording will also be emailed to you later today for your reference. Feel free to share it with your friends and colleagues. And guess what? Our good friends over at Google, they're giving away some cool prizes today on the webinar. 2 of you lucky webinar attendees are going to win a shiny new Google Home Mini. Oh, it's the hottest gadget on the market, and it makes a great gift. You have to be on the live broadcast to win it, though, so stay tuned for your chance to win this sweet prize. Also, at the conclusion of this webinar, you're going to get a short survey, so fill it out. We're always looking for quality feedback from our audience. We want your opinion to be heard. And hey, do you tweet much? Gosh, we hope you do. We'd love to see what you have to say about today's presentation, so please tag us in it. You can use hashtag DealerOnWebby. I'm at Eliana Raggio. You can also hit up Kelly McNerney at KellyMcN. We look forward to seeing what you're saying. All right, everyone, let's get started, as the expert from Google is going to show us all about Google's Automotive Retail Dealer Playbook. Kelly McNerney first. Thank you so much for being here again, because you know I love webinaring with you. Second, holy crap, Google wrote an automotive retail dealer playbook. I am so excited about this.
We did. We finally got to it. We got a dealer playbook to share in the marketplace today with all of you. It was just announced last month at Digital Dealer, so now it is making its rounds. So I'm really happy and flattered and honored to see the turnout today for people who really want to see what we have to share with you. So Eliana, thank you, and thank DealerOn for having me today.
Oh, it's definitely our pleasure. Now, I know you have a lot to get to, so without further ado, why don't you tell the good folks out there all the kinds of awesomeness that we're going to be talking about today.
Okay, fantastic. Well, guys, here are the objectives that you'll be able to take away today from our webinar. So first and foremost, we just want you to understand that Google now has an official dealer point of view on advertising your dealerships, your auto groups, and your store. So that's first and foremost. You're going to finally get from Google, by Google, what we think you should do with your advertising strategy. Then we want you to do a little internal investigation, find out where you are in the pillars I'm about to share with you. So what have you already covered? What do you need to do next? We have an entire checklist for you here in the handouts that hopefully you will print out and stick somewhere prominently and start to focus on how to get better at advertising for your store. We're also going to ask you to do a little bit of homework by making this a continued effort with your agency. So we recommend monthly check-ins with your dealer agency on the playbook status to see how you're doing on adopting some of the best practices that we're going to share with you here today. We do have that giveaway that Eliana mentioned. I'm handing out 2 Google Home Minis, which are the size of a donut. And then we're going to have some at the end. So that's what we are leaving with today.
That's right. Now, audience, get those questions in. I do usually go through the questions in the order in which they're received. So we're looking forward to a really nice, robust Q&A session with Kelly. And yeah, stick around for that giveaway as well. All right, Kelly, let's do this.
Here we go. Okay, so some of you may have seen the story in Automotive News from September 18th that, yes, there is now a playbook on how to handle Google. So if you haven't read that story yet, you can certainly go to Automotive News and search for this topic. There is coverage of it there, but you know what? You don't even need it because you're here at the webinar, so you're going to get our point of view directly from me. First and foremost, why in the world do we need a dealer playbook? Well, we kept hearing in the marketplace from a lot of you telling us, like Brian Benstock here from Paragon Honda, just saying, just tell me what to do. You have so many products, you have so much data, you have so much technology and expertise. Just make a list for me and tell me what I should do. So we said, all right, fine, we will. Now, what is this thing exactly? It is 4 pillars of marketing succession for how to make sure that you are thinking in the most strategic way possible about how to advertise and market your store. So we have broken it down into these 4 pillars you see here, starting on the left with foundational fundamentals. These are the things, if you're not knocking these out of the park already, it's time to really reevaluate the way that you're using Google. Second is brilliant basics. This is where probably the majority of dealers are today, which basic but very often overlooked, some tactics worth prioritizing before everything else. And then in the green bucket, we have today's differentiators. So these are some dealers who are all in and really taking a massive effort and a lot of time and energy spent on their digital marketing strategy, prioritizing digital, staffing for digital. And then finally, in that gold bucket is where we'll spend the least amount of time. We just find that the least amount of dealers are actually in the future growth levers. So that is what you can be prepared for. Now, what is contained in each of these buckets? We're going to go through each one of these things today on the webinar, and then you will get a better sense of not only where you are, but where you can go from here. So I'll be telling you what our best practices are. I'll be telling you how to get from the red to the blue to the green and ultimately to that yellow bucket moving forward. First and foremost, let's start from the beginning here at foundational fundamentals. The very first thing Google recommends that you do is master that site experience. That was uncomfortable, wasn't it? That was 10 seconds while you waited.
What the hell is going on?
Did you lose your mind a little bit there, Eliana? Were you nervous?
Well, I was waiting to, I mean, I can't believe I waited that long to say something, but I was like, what is happening? Is there something wrong with that? Did seem like forever.
Yeah, that's the point. You assume something is wrong, but in fact, that's the average amount of time that it takes for the average dealer website to load.
Now, George wrote in, just about died there. My millennial brain was crying. George.
Good, that's the point. That's the exact point. So if your website is taking 10 seconds to load, what you just went through, that nervous, uncomfortable feeling you just went through, that's what you're putting your customers through. So we need to make sure that our website excellence, especially on mobile, is the very first thing that we do. Now, if you need help with that, we're here to provide that. So Google has created a website called testmysite.thinkwithgoogle.com. The URL is there for you in the bottom. And what you do on this site is type in your dealer website, put your URL right there in the box, just as you would on Google search, and then Google will spit out a report that tells you for this Lexus dealership, who shall remain anonymous, that their site took 6 seconds to load on a mobile device, which is fair, not the 10-second average, but definitely room for improvement. And this particular site is losing 24% of their visitors because of the time that it takes to load. Because what we found is that, oh, Eliana, I'm hearing some conversation in the background.
Gosh, that's not coming from me.
Okay.
Let's see what's going on here. Hold on 1 second.
Okay. There we go. It's gone. All right. So we find that. Oh, it's okay. That's all right. So we find that the average customer will wait 3 seconds for a site to load before they abandon. And again, you saw that average for a dealer is 10 seconds. So time to really look at your site excellence, your site speed, and make sure that you are you're not putting customers through what I just put you all through. So once Google gives you the score, your average load time, and your visitor loss due to load, you see that blue button down there at the bottom that says Get My Free Report. Google will send to you a free report that tells you exactly what to fix on your site to speed it up and make it more mobile friendly. This is a report that really should go directly to your website provider. It does get pretty specific about things like compression and JavaScript, and it's something that your website provider would be very, very familiar with, but not something that you could necessarily try to understand on your own. So testmysite.thinkwithgoogle.com, get your free report and find out how your mobile site is performing today. Once you have done that, before you start spending another dollar in Google advertising, we want to make sure that you're measuring your advertising in the right way. So tracking things like phone calls, email forms, chat, VDP views. And there are 2 ways to do that. One is through AdWords conversion tracking. This is a free way to monitor how your Google campaigns are working. The second is through Google Analytics. So you can do things like set up specific goals that match your dealership KPI, remarketing list, etc. These 2 work well together hand in hand. And again, both are completely free. And Google Analytics can tell you what happens after the user clicks on your ad. AdWords conversion tracking gives you all that reporting on who clicked and when they clicked and the traffic delivered to your site. Then Google Analytics goes deeper into like what they did on your site after you got that paid click from AdWords. So those 2 free tools working really well together to give you a more holistic view of exactly how your advertising is working for you. And you guys, you'd just be shocked at how many dealerships across the country are not measuring their advertising in the right way. So you spend all this money, we want to make sure that your advertising dollars are held accountable. So again, we recommend at minimum AdWords conversion tracking and Google Analytics, both free tools to keep your dollars accountable. And then the final topic in that first foundational fundamentals bucket is paid search basics. So let's spend a little bit of time here. Finally, we're getting into some paid products. Those first 2 recommendations are free. Now we're getting into some paid advertising. Basics. So OEMs are out there creating Super Bowl spots like this hilarious one for the Kia Niro that aired in this year's, I guess, Super Bowl. And they're drumming up a lot of interest at Tier 1, launching vehicles, creative ad campaigns, hilarious Melissa McCarthy. And what happens when these massive launch campaigns at Tier 1 are in the marketplace, we see huge spikes in searches for that brand, for that model. So things like Super Bowl ads, you can see this one spiked very high in February, right when that campaign was launched, and then it's sustained growth over time. So the OEM is working hard and in many cases, succeeding at driving interest in the brand, driving interest in the model. And is that being captured at the dealership level? So are you, through paid search, able to capture the increased demand that the OEM is creating for you and with you? The reason this is so important, the reason that capturing all this demand really truly matters, the reason that we spend so much time talking about Google search is the chart that you're looking at right there on your screen. That blue line is the national SAR for the automotive industry over time since 2010. And that green line, well, that's automotive search interest on Google. As you can see, those two things are very closely aligned. So closely aligned, and I'm no mathematician, but I've been educated that there's a thing called a correlation coefficient. It's a number between 0 and 1, 0 being these two things are not related at all, and 1 being these two things are causing each other. We have causation. The correlation between the SAR and Google search interest is 0.82, which means Google search and Google and automotive sales are so closely related, they're almost causing each other. So search volume matters because it directly impacts sales. If someone is searching for your brand, your make, your dealership, that person is going to take action on your brand, your make, your dealership. And why is that? Because Google is the ultimate intent engine. We know what users are going to do because they come to us to do that. They come to Google for us to take them from their intention into their action. Same thing is true for us in automotive. You intend to buy a car, you search for that car, and then you buy that car. So that's why all of this, the search volume is such an important piece for growing your business. Now, we know people are searching. Google has released in 2017 what you're looking at here on the screen in front of you, and it is called our micro moments narrative. These are the 5 moments that every shopper goes through at some point during their shopping process. Which car is best, and is it right for me? Those are what you may historically have considered upper funnel terms. So this is someone who's just now getting into the research phase. As they move to the right here, they're in what we call the ready to buy categories. So at the left, awareness and consideration of your brand and your model. Towards the right there, these are ready to buy shoppers. These are people who are looking for things like pricing, lease, offers, payments, and then in the green bucket, dealer-related terms and dealer actions. So these are keywords that are going to be geo-modified. These are test drive, things like that. In fact, let's take a look at some of the keywords that make up those ready-to-buy buckets. So you see here at the bottom of your screen, pricing and financing, for example, Nissan Altima price, Honda Accord MSRP. Deals and incentives are anything where a user is searching for a make, a model, and words like sale, offer, specials, and deals. Those are all the shoppers in that am I getting a deal moments, the ones who are now, they've decided the model that they want, and now they're trying to find the best price. Those are people we definitely want to talk to. And finally, people in that where should I buy bucket, those are the ones who are searching for your dealer, your dealership name, a dealership in your city, when in dealer actions, things like test drive, inventory, things where we definitely want to send that customer to a dealership website. We don't want to kick them back out to your tier 1 site. They're ready for a test drive and they want to shop inventory. So if you have been wondering where to focus your search, Google recommends that dealerships focus on these last 3 micro moments, these ready to buy moments, only in those paid search basics. This is the lowest hanging fruit. This is also going to be the most cost effective for you because you are the most relevant person in the world for someone who's looking for this type of information, and it's also going to be the most effective. Somebody who's in one of these 3 micro moments, they want to go to a dealership website. You're the one who can answer the questions for them about pricing, deals, offers, and of course your inventory. What's happening is that the average dealer is covering just 20% of keywords in those 3 buckets. So essentially, you're telling those shoppers, sorry, we're closed. our best practice is that you cover 90% of the keywords in those last buckets. Now, if you are a Ford store, we are saying you cover those keywords for Ford makes and Ford models. If you are a Maserati store, we are suggesting you cover the Maserati terms for those last 3 buckets. So we want 90% coverage on the make and models that you sell. So those branded keywords only for the last 3 buckets of the banker moments. Let's take a look at those again, shall we? So keep in mind your make, your model for these last 3 buckets. So instead of 20% coverage on these, we're encouraging you to ratchet that up to 90%. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to now dump a whole bunch of extra money into Google. It means maybe you're buying things like new car, and we want to peel that coverage back a little bit and instead focus on the lowest 3 buckets. So not necessarily even spending more money, just spending your money in the right places. This is an example of a really, really well done mobile ad in the low ready to buy buckets. Now this one is for a fixed op search. This searcher, as you can tell, put in Nissan oil change, and look at this beautiful mobile ad from Tamaroff Nissan. So first we have expanded text ads at the beginning. And again, this will be in the checklist. So if you're like, what's happening? I can't keep up. This is all in the checklist. If you don't know what expanded text ads are, talk to your agency about that. They definitely do know. Expanded text ads at the beginning. Then you see there we have the new pricing extensions. Right there in the search results, I know that Tamaroff Nissan is going to offer me a $34.95 oil filter change for conventional or $44.95 for semi-synthetic. What more could I need? Because I also there have a button for click to call. In one tap, I can call and schedule an appointment. Tamaroff has used the new click to message extension. So in one tap, I'm suddenly texting with the dealership. And then finally, they have location extensions enabled. So without even leaving Google search, I know that this dealership is 3.9 miles away. They're on Telegraph Road, and a tap on that line of the ad takes me right to Google Maps, and I'm suddenly navigating right to the store. So this is not only a miniature website. Look at this. Like everything you would want to know about that Nissan oil change is answered for you right here. Print your oil change coupon today right there in the ad copy. So I know how much it costs, I know where to drive, I know who to call, and I know I'm getting a coupon. Really, really well done by Tamaroff Nissan. So one of those paid search basics, rounding out this fundamentals bucket, is these 3 different ad copies per group. So we want to make sure that you have 3 distinct ad creatives per ad group. So you see there in the example, example.com shoes, the text is different, the ad copy is different, and you're rotating those throughout and testing and learning on which one works better, which one's getting the most ads. We don't want to just send the same ad to people every single day, 24 hours a day. So you do need to be rotating in different ad creatives. And that is, again, a final best practice in paid search basics. Now that was for our new car coverage. Also paid search basics, we recommend that dealers start expanding, if you're not already, into fixed ops branded parts and service keywords. So we know that customers last year spent $340 billion servicing and repairing their vehicles, but dealers were only capturing 29% of the market. The remaining 70% of the market is going to independent rooftops, third parties, national chains, and these are people who are coming to Google and searching for Nissan oil change, for example, and we don't want to lose those customers anymore. We don't want to lose them to third parties. We want to take them to our dealership website. So if your ad campaigns right now do not yet include parts and service keywords, Google's recommendation in rounding out the foundational fundamentals is to figure out which parts and service is your highest driving profit, which department. Is it tires for you? Is it transmission? Is it brake repair? And then start adding those keywords into your Google AdWords campaigns, again, for branded searches. So please do not buy the term oil change. It is too broad. It's too competitive. We'd like you to buy, in the last example, Nissan oil change, Nissan Altima oil change. So branded parts and service keywords it's time to start adding those to your accounts if you don't have them already. Okay, so that was it, guys. That was the foundational fundamentals. That site experience is the very first thing you want to do. Then make sure you have measurement in place. Before you spend another dollar on Google, make sure you're holding that dollar accountable. So AdWords conversion tracking, Google Analytics, to make sure that you're getting reporting and you know exactly what your clicks are doing once they get to your site. Finally, those paid search basics, 90% coverage on the ready to buy micro moments for your branded searches, and then adding fixed ops keywords to those accounts as well. If you are one of the people on the webinar today who said, oh, checkity check, I've already got all of that covered, it's time to move on now to the brilliant basics. So let's get a little more prescriptive on what to do with our paid search excellence. Now, what you are seeing on the screen looks very, very boring, but couldn't be more important for your future success with Google. This is the ideal account structure for a successful dealership ad campaign. Account structure is not a sexy topic. It's not something we talk about often, but I can't overstate the importance of making sure that your account is structured in a fashion similar to this for your Google AdWords success. Now again, you are seeing those 5 micro moments there in blue across the left. Which is best? Is it right for me? Can I afford it? Am I getting a deal? And where do I buy this thing? Now those are traditionally which car is best, make and make segment. So Toyota SUV, 2017 Toyota. Also reviews and accolades. So ratings, reviews. Please, we encourage you to let Tier 1 or Tier 2 handle reviews and accolades of the actual vehicles themselves. Reviews of your dealership, that's your domain, but reviews of the actual vehicle, you're not going to get a lot of web traffic on someone who's looking for a review of the Ford F-150. They know you're going to tell them that the Ford F-150 is fantastic if you're a Ford dealership. So customers aren't interested in coming to a dealership website for a review. They know you're going to tell them that your product is wonderful. So please don't prioritize your investment in those types of things. Let the OEMs handle that. Is it right for me? Model and specs. Can I afford it? Those are pricing and financing. Am I getting a deal? Any searches related to deals, offers, or incentives and rebates, those need to be broken out separately. And then finally, in where to buy, you should have a different ad group for your dealer name with all of your dealer name ad copy. You need to have a separate ad group for your dealer geo that has city, zip, dealer, town name. Then you have a separate group for make and model, things like test drive, inventory, any sort of action that would take place at the dealership. You guys would be shocked at how many dealer campaigns have just thousands of keywords in one ad group bucketed in no particular order. So please take a look at this screen, talk to your dealer agency and say, are you structuring my account like this? And once your account is structured in this way, all of your keywords for price in one spot with specific ad copy about price, taking you directly to the pricing page on your website, another bucket with incentives ad copy taking you to the incentive section of your website, your quality score goes up, your bounce rates go down, and what you see here on the screen in front of you is proof that this works. Now this is a nameless dealer who was not structured in the way that we recommended, and so we had to prove to this dealer, look, here are the impressions and the investment that you are currently doing across the micro moments. Guys, you may think that you've got this covered, but I encourage you to just take another look because there are a lot of dealers in this country who are spending, as you can see there, 70% of this dealer's investment was on those upper funnel, which car is best and is it right for me terms. So that's where they were prioritizing their impressions, that's where they were prioritizing their investment, and then look over there at the right at the conversions and the conversion rate. The conversions are much lower for a dealership on these two upper funnel buckets. Look at the conversions on the ready to buy micro moments, the can I afford it, am I getting a deal, and where should I buy? the conversions are so much higher on these buckets. In fact, 66% of this dealer's conversions were coming from the where to buy bucket, but it was getting just 20% of their investment. This is exactly why we think this micro moments framework is so important and something that we all need to start looking at on our own campaigns. Are we structured the right way, and are we prioritizing those ready to buy buckets that are going to convert better and give us more business, more customers, more leads, more sales, more happiness?
More happiness. I just want you to know you blew at least one mind today, because John Watts wrote in, "This is awesome." And it makes so much sense because we are audience segmenting. So I know you have more awesomeness to get to. And by the way, audience, your questions are so good. So I'm really looking forward to our Q&A session. Kelly, you're going to be sitting there a while. We have so many good questions from the audience.
Good. I'm ready. Ready.
I know you are.
This is so important. Your conversions will be higher. I promise you. We're not asking you to spend more money with Google. We're asking you to spend it in the best possible way. Spend smarter, not harder. So I think that covers on why that micro moments prioritization works. But if you need more proof, when we took this dealer who was putting 70% of their investment in the wrong buckets of keywords, these were the results. That CTR went up between 28 and 45%. The CTR was 32% higher on their top volume keywords. The quality score went up 8%. You guys know how important quality score is to how much you actually pay for Google AdWords. And the bounce rate went down because we made sure that we structured the account in the right way. So if I was searching for tires, I got tires ad copy and it landed on a tires page of the website. What reason would I have to bounce? The bounce comes if I searched for tires and you gave me tires ad copy and you took me to a BDP. Sayonara, I'm going to find somebody else who knows how to handle my business. So when you take our structure and our recommendations in place, these are the kind of results that you could expect for your campaigns as well. Next, audience targeting. And we're going to kind of fly through these last ones. We spend the most time on what we've covered here, so we're more than halfway through. Audience targeting. We've already covered here today why Google search is so important. In addition to correlating almost directly to vehicle sales, this is the intent driver of the internet. So many of you have heard from me before that it's not just automotive that uses Google search to figure out what people are up to. The movie industry uses Google search to determine box office openings. The CDC uses Google search to try to diagnose virus outbreaks across the country and globally. Because if you're searching for something, you're doing something as an action, as a coincidence of that search. So it is the best possible way in the world to figure out the intent of a shopper. When we add to that the context of that search, is it coming from mobile, desktop, or tablet? So someone searching on a mobile phone 2 blocks from your store, that context is really important, as opposed to if it's someone who's searching on a desktop at 11 p.m. at night. That message needs to be different. The ad copy needs to be different. So the context is really important. We know the location of the user. We know the day of the week. Is it a Saturday morning and they're 2 blocks from your dealership searching for a new car on a mobile device? That's a really important person that we want to get our message in front of. And then finally, we start to get even smarter. So we've got intent, we have the context of the search, and now we're layering audience data on top of that as well. So your own dealer site data. Who's been to your site before? Let's go remarket to those people and bring them back to our site using remarketing lists for search ads. Google data, like similar audiences. So you've got a list of all the shoppers, your customers. Here, Google, here's my list. Go find me people like my customers. I've already got my customers. I know how to talk to them. I have their contact information. I need to grow my business, Google, so I need more customers like these. We use Google similar audiences to go find people on the internet that are showing us they're interested in a car. And then finally, using your own CRM data powered by Google Customer Match. For those of you who don't know, Customer Match is a tool in Google AdWords. You upload your CRM data. It's really just an Excel sheet, a CSV file that you upload directly into AdWords, and it is just the email addresses of your customers. We import that data, we anonymize it and scrub it and purge it in 7 days. So it's gone, it's private, it's safe, but now you can bucket out your customers and say, here are 700 people who bought a vehicle from me last year but have not been back for their first service appointment. Google, I would like you to go find these 700 people, and I would like you to service them this ad about how wonderful my service bay is. And now while you're at it, here's an oil change special, here's a buy 3 tires, get 1 free deal. That sort of customized messaging for people who are your known customers. So we find them on Google Search, YouTube, and Gmail. We can send them ads across those 3 platforms and then get your customers back into your store. So to see how that looks, we identify your customers in the green there by using remarketing lists for search ads. So they have been to your website. You have a pool of all of the people who have visited your website. When that pool, someone from that pool of visitors comes back to Google search and does another search, maybe for you, maybe for your competitor, maybe for a different model, you want to prioritize your message in front of that customer because they're aware of you. They've been to your site. They know you. They're close. They're this close. They've been to your website. So let's get them back to your website to purchase from you, to get service from you, instead of losing them to somebody else on Google search. Then we re-engage with the customers we already know and already have using customer match. So it's your CRM data. It's your customers. Hey, Google, here are 600 email addresses of people who are coming off of lease, and I would really like to send them a customized message on Gmail, on YouTube, on Google search about why they need to come back to my store now that their lease is up and upgrade, get into a new lease, buy out their lease, etc. And then finally expanding. So you've remarketed to all of the people who have been to your site to bring them back. You're re-engaging with all of your known customers through Gmail, YouTube, and Google search. And now you need more customers. This is when you use similar audiences and you say, Google, here are my customers. Go find me people like them because I need to grow my business. That is how you use Google's audience data and your own data to do some really sophisticated audience targeting. And finally, in Brilliant Basics is video and display basics. Now, those of you who know me and have met me know there's nothing I'm more passionate about than YouTube at a dealership level. The reason is that online video is the #1 format for how people discover new vehicles. Did you know that? Online video. Not television, not radio, not newspaper, not print, not social, online video. That's how people discover a new vehicle that they didn't know about before. And it's the #2 format for learning more about vehicle in the consideration set right after search ads, of course. So if people want to learn more about vehicles they're considering, they search those vehicles and they watch online video about those vehicles. So much so that we have 4 million daily views on in-market automotive content. So this is not NASCAR highlights, this is not cop chases, this is in-market automotive content. It's test drives, features, walkarounds, people who are doing active research on a new car. That's 4 million views every single day on YouTube. And to the left there, you see that we asked auto purchasers, where do you go to watch these videos? YouTube was the #1 destination. Your dealership site was #3. So this is a point to ask yourself, if you haven't already, do I have video on my dealer site? If you don't, it's time to add it, because 32% of people are expecting that you have it there, and they want to use your dealer site to watch video about your vehicles. There are 2 ways to get your video ads in front of people, and these are, again, the video basics under the Brilliant Basics bucket. So TrueView Discovery. This is considered search and display on YouTube. So you guys have heard probably before that YouTube is the 2nd largest search engine in the world. When people come to Google to search for, in this case, Ford F-150, there is an ad that appears in the top of those YouTube search results. In this case, it's a paid ad from Ford Motor Company on the Ford F-150. How that works is Ford buys that keyword just like they do on Google search. It appears at the top of the page just like it does on Google search, and Ford only pays for that ad if I click or tap on it and start watching their video. So just like Google search, it's pay per click, pay per view, and you target people based on what they're searching on YouTube. The second example that you see, these ads surface in sort of a display fashion. So if I'm watching a video on YouTube, any of you who have been down like that 4-hour YouTube hole where like you don't realize what happened to your evening, but suddenly it's 2 a.m. and you're still watching YouTube videos, it's because we keep surfacing relevant videos to you based on what you're watching. So in this case, Ford wants to appear on a video that I'm watching about a truck, and so that ad appears in kind of a display ad fashion. That's still this format called True View for discovery. And again, Ford only pays if I tap on that ad. And on the right is just what it looks like on desktop compared to mobile. So I've searched for something, your search video ad comes up at the top of the page, you pay when I click. The second video format for advertising is TrueView in-stream. This is probably the one you're more familiar with. This is that skippable pre-roll that runs before I'm here to watch a video on the new 2018 Ford F-150, and before I watch that video, I have an ad for the Ford F-150. Same thing there on mobile devices, and I think you guys all probably know that skip ad button is the user's key to freedom. If they hit that skip ad button, your ad stops playing and they're right onto the video that they want to watch. The key there for you as the advertiser is that if anyone hits the skip ad button at any point during the first 30 seconds of your ad, you don't pay for that ad. You only pay for a video ad on TrueView in-stream if the user is staring at that skip ad button and decides to watch your ad anyway. And when the user decides to watch your ad anyway, it's about an 8 to 10 cent cost per view. So for a dime, you get to surface your video ad in front of a person who has the option to skip and chooses to watch your message instead. And that is TrueView in-stream. Finally, on video, Google's using 5,000 intent signals a month to determine who's in market and who's in not. 5,000 different signals. Because we have 7 platforms with 1 billion users each. Google Maps, Chrome, YouTube, Gmail, Android devices. So we know what people are up to on the internet. So we know who's truly in market and who's not. We use those 5,000 different signals a month to make sure that when you come to Google and YouTube and you say, I want to target in-market shoppers, by golly, we're going to get you those in-market shoppers. We're going to get you the people who have been looking at car loan websites, who have been using build and price, who have been doing Google searches about lease and purchase offers, specials, deals, etc. So we know what people are up to on the internet, and we're using it for your benefit. Now, if you have not yet dabbled in advertising on YouTube, Google has just announced this incentive that you see here in front of you. And since we are on this DealerOn webinar, it pleases me greatly to announce that DealerOn is one of the agencies, excuse me, who can help you with this. What we're doing, because we realize we don't make it easy for you to do YouTube campaigns. It does take some work. You do have to create videos. You do have to set up an account and then optimize it just like you do for search. So we're going to help you, and so is DealerOn. If you will spend $15,000 over 3 months, so $5,000 a month on the 2 video formats that I just showed you, Google is going to do the production of the creative, and Google's going to do the account setup and optimization for you, and then we're going to help DealerOn run that campaign. So if you're interested in this promotion where you get Google support on your creative production and your account setup and your account optimization, I encourage you to send an email to dealer-youtube@google.com and just say nothing more than, here's my dealership name, and I heard from Kelly on the webinar, and I would like to start running some advertising. Pretty awesome, guys. We're going to help. We're going to help you. DealerOn is going to help you. We're trying to remove the burden of creating and running YouTube campaigns. We know it's not that easy, so we're going to help you do it.
Okay, brains are exploding right now. Just letting you know. People are writing in, wow, it's awesome. And we did get a follow-up question on that promotion. So real quick, Connor says, is that $15,000 per account, or does it count with a group?
Oh, it's $15,000 per account. Great question.
Per account. Okay, great. And all right. And Camille says, "Oh my gosh, this is so much awesome information."
I know it's a
I miss
lot,
you,
but I'm
Camille.
trying to go fast.
I'm trying to keep my brain from exploding.
Yeah.
Okay, and Keith says at 8 to 10 cents per ad, will you spend the $5,000 per month?
Yeah, we absolutely will. The other part is 80% of people skip the ad in automotive. So you have to figure 80% of the people that you surface it to are going to skip it. And that's not because your ad is bad or because we didn't target the right people. It's because you guys know how this works. There's only a very small percentage of people who are in market at any given time. Or they just bought a vehicle from your competitor, or they work at the dealership down the street from you. So we do see a high skip rate, but even at that cost per view, we've done a lot of analysis on what the right spend is that got us to that 5K a month over 3 months. 5K is the investment that is going to make sure that you're reaching with enough scale people in your market to get some results out of that. We want you to be able to report back that you drove sales, you drove service appointments. So that's the right amount. That's the right amount. And YouTube is so huge. I think was it Keith Aliana that asked that question?
It was.
So Keith, YouTube is so enormous that everybody in your market is watching YouTube. The average user spends 40 minutes per session on a mobile phone. 40 minutes staring at video on your phone. So we know that there's enough inventory, there are enough eyeballs, there's enough opportunity there.
Okay. Keith, great question. Thank you so much. Josh wanted to know who is going to be producing the creative?
Well, that is what you will talk to Google and your ad agency about. So we'll find out who's best suited to create it for you. If you want to do it, you have a hankering for creating some videos yourself. If you need help, you need your agency to do it for you, or you need Google to do it, that's what we'll find out. So when you email dealer-youtube@google.com, we'll start to get out exactly who should create it for you.
Okay, so many more questions. They're just rolling in. Okay, let's move on from here, and hopefully we can get to all of these questions in the Q&A session.
Okay, sounds great. We have a poll question.
Oh, audience, your first of 2 poll questions is on the screen now. We want to know, now that you heard about Pillar 1 and Pillar 2, we haven't quite gotten to Pillar 3 and Pillar 4 yet, but we want to know, what pillar is your dealership currently working in? We want to know what's happening at your dealership. Now, the votes are coming in nice and fast, but we want to know what's going on, so please, please, please make sure you get involved in our poll question. And by the way, I want to tell you what David said. He wrote in, he's like, I have so many questions for my SEM vendor now, and we're only halfway through the presentation. David, I know exactly what you're talking about. And Jim said, is there anything before beautiful basics? You mean brilliant basics?
Anything before? Yes, there's foundational fundamentals.
Yes.
And
then,
so
yes. So far, she went through the foundational fundamentals and she went through the brilliant basics. We haven't gotten through to steps 3 and 4. But if you're already doing 1 and 2, then it's probably a good bet that you're maybe already in 3. So we're going to find out. It's funny because actually somebody had asked me, I'm trying to find the question here, but somebody actually had asked me how many people were doing level 1, and I said, I don't know. We're going to ask a poll question about it in just a minute, so we're going to find out. All right, so now that we have, surprisingly, not a lot of people have voted on this. Maybe they're confused by the question. I don't know, but let's close this question and let's share the results. Kelly, wait till you see this. All right, 30% of today's audience say they're in foundational fundamentals, tier 1. Now, the majority, 32% of today's audience, so almost a third of today's audience, say they are sitting pretty in brilliant basics. 26% of today's audience believe they are in today's differentiators. 6% of today's audience say they are in the future growth levers. What? And then 5% of today's audience say none of those. Maybe they're not sure where they actually lie. All right. I don't know if that was what you were expecting. Was that what you were expecting, Kelly?
I'm actually surprised at the 26% in the today's differentiators. That's wonderful. I should have known. DealerOn has the most sophisticated dealers on your webinars, so I should have known that. What we find is that the vast majority of dealerships today are in foundational fundamentals or brilliant basics. So the fact that webinar, we have almost, we have a quarter of people in the differentiators. That's fantastic. That means we have a very advanced group here today.
Yes, and I know we haven't gotten to that level yet, and she's about to go over it right now. So we'll see if that's exactly where you think you are. So thank you so much. Great question, Kelly. All right, where do we go from here? Are we in today's differentiators?
All right, so now for the 26% of you that are in this today's differentiators, let's talk about what is included in that pillar. So now it's time. You have mastered the paid search basics. You have expanded into paid search excellence. Now it's really time to start expanding paid search. Now I've been telling you we don't need more money from you. We just want you to spend it smarter. This is where you now start investing more money into Google search to do different things with Google search. What do I mean by that? Now we just talked about dealers. Let's prioritize ready to buy. Let's prioritize our investment here. About 70% of your investment should be going here into these ready to buy moments. Now, if you're a today's differentiator, now it's time to expand. So you've already covered off on the opportunity in your market for those last 3 buckets, and you would really like to have some opportunity to start answering those, which car is best, is it right for me? Now it's time to expand your keyword coverage and that account structure that I showed you, where we're going a little bit more upper funnel into awareness and consideration. That's when you start to expand. Another thing, I went too fast. Another thing you can do here in this paid search expansion is start doing things like segment terms, conquesting. So now you're getting into investing to get more customers to you who are slightly upper funnel, and you're okay with investing in categories where you won't necessarily see the volume and the conversions that you do in ready to buy, but you're okay with that because you're a dealership who's comfortable moving into consideration and awareness from customers. So someone who's searching for make and model may not be someone who's going to buy from you after that click, but you're willing to invest to get your dealership name out there, etc. Now, even when you expand here, about 30% maximum of your budget should be in these 2 buckets. Don't spend any more than 30% max in these 2 buckets because you do still need to make sure that you're covered off on ready to buy. And I told you we're going to power through these. So future growth levers, maximizing measurement. If you're in this bucket, you are now someone who's looking at cross-device attribution. So as user behavior starts to evolve, our dealerships have to adapt our approach, especially because, and this is sometimes an eye-opening and shocking slide, so this is the in-market shopper behavior that people who participate in Google's Path to Purchase study, 26,000 of them, this is what they told us about their shopping experience. 74% of them said, I never completed a lead form. I didn't want to do that paperwork. 56% said, no, I didn't want to be contacted until I was ready. I'll call you when I'm ready to talk. So no, 56% of people said they preferred not to be contacted. 67% never used the chat tool, and 45% didn't even call.
And you said how many shoppers were in this study?
26,000.
Wow.
So we do this study every year.
Do you happen to know how long ago that was?
We do it every year. So it's we're in the field for 6 months. It's called the Google Automotive Path to Purchase study. Yeah. We're in market for 6 months collecting data, and we spend another 6 months analyzing and reporting out. So the study is released usually September or October of every year. I'm sorry, no. We get the results in September, October. It's released usually in March. So we released the 2016 study in March of this year. If you haven't seen it yet, you can just do a Google search for Google Automotive Path.
We did a webinar on
it. We did indeed.
Okay, so wait, we have a question about this. David said the 45% didn't want to be called or didn't call the dealership when it says don't call.
They didn't call the dealership. 56% preferred for you not to contact them, and 45% didn't call you. before they bought.
Got
Now,
it.
keep in mind, guys, self-reported. So these are people who bought a car, participated in our survey and study, and then self-reported. Did you call the dealership before you bought from them? 45% said, no, I never called. And the reason I bring this up is because if you're in this final bucket, you're in this future growth levers pillar of our dealer playbook, you know that you can't measure your success on lead form submissions. You can't keep harassing your region and your OEM for where are my lead forms, where are my lead forms, because 70%, 74% of people never completed one. Now, it just means you have to measure things differently, and that's what distinguishes the future growth levers from the rest of us. And again, not a lot of people, you saw today, 6% of those of us on the call are thinking about and strategizing for this kind of thing. But there are a variety of different attribution models that allow for you to determine which media is working for you and how. The two most basic are last click and first click. Those are over there on the left, which means I did 17 hours of research before I purchased a new vehicle. And the last thing I clicked on, whether it was, a Google search ad or a display ad on an endemic site, that gets full credit for the entire customer journey. There's another model that says the first click. So I did 17 hours of research, but the very first thing I did was search and then click on an ad. Well, that search ad gets all the credit for the sale. Those are antiquated because that's not how it works. Now, if you guys were at the Automotive Retail Summit, you heard Dejan Mitkovsky, who's he's our head of analytics here at Google for automotive, and he gives a great analogy about when you go out and have too much to drink and you're hungover the next morning, you tend to blame the last beer. You say like, oh, that last beer, I shouldn't have had that last beer. That's why I have a headache. It's not the last beer's fault. It's the double martini and the glass of wine and the Bud Light. Now, the Bud Light probably didn't get you as drunk as the martini.
Come on. It was never the Bud Light. It was the Fireball. We all know that.
It was the Fireball shot. So it wasn't the last beer's responsibility. Every single one of those drinks had some credit in getting you to that hungover state. The same can be said for shoppers online. There are a bunch of different touch points. There are 24 different touch points, 19 of them are digital, that all contribute to that sale. So if you're a future growth, if you're pulling these future growth levers, this is a conversation that you're having with your agency. This is something you're thinking about, how to attribute the value of every step in the customer's journey. But again, only 6% of us at this phase now, so we'll move on. Now, what you're looking at here is our final slide. This is the last slide. It's also the checklist that's in the handouts today. This is the summary of everything that we have just gone over. So if your hand has a cramp right now from taking notes, rest easy and just print out our PDF because this is exactly what we just covered. So all of the tactics, tools, etc., in each one of the pillars of our playbook are listed here for you. Here are the takeaways, guys. First, print off that checklist and then talk to your agency about your status. Where are you? Which bucket are you in? And what do you need to do to complete that pillar and get to the next one? Hold your ad dollars accountable and know what you're currently tracking. Are you just tracking lead form submissions, knowing that 74% of people didn't submit a lead? If you are, that's okay. At least you were tracking something, but it's time to start expanding into other metrics. Maximizing that ready-to-buy branded coverage. That is your wheelhouse. That's your home. Go right to that ready-to-buy list of keywords and make sure that you are maximizing your investment there first before you tell your agency to go buy things like new car Phoenix. That is way too broad. That's not your home. Your home is the branded ready-to-buy keywords. And trust me, guys, there is enough opportunity there for you to spend your budget there wisely. There are 1 billion searches a minute. That's not true, but a day. So
it's pretty close.
Where you can wisely invest in that bucket before you go crazy and start trying to conquest people in your neighborhood. And then finally, this is not your 401k. This is not set it and forget it. we really highly encourage you to talk to your agency once a month at minimum and just have check-ins on this playbook. Where are we? What changes have we seen since we changed our account structure? Did my bounce rate go down 9%? Did my click-through rate go up 32%? You've got to have these conversations continually with your ad agency and continue to check in with them to optimize your strategy, because next time we all talk, we want 6% of you to be in foundational fundamentals, and we want 30% of you to be in future growth levers, because we know you can do it, and we know this is really important. Eliana, it's time for our last poll question.
Last poll question on the screen now. All right, audience, vote. We want to know, how do you envision using this playbook in your dealership? Please select one of the following answers. It is your new Bible, and you promise you're going to meet with your agency and have regular check-ins with your agency to monitor your progress. How about, I'll use the best practices starting with mastering the fundamentals? There's also the answer, I'm going to pass this on to a teammate to tackle. How about, I might reference it every once in a while? Or, you know what, I don't really think I'm going to be using this playbook at my dealership. Once we get a majority of the votes in, we're going to close this poll and share the results. And the votes are coming in nice and fast. I love it. Audience, you are amazing. The questions that came from this audience today, Kelly, I'm just letting you know, really, really sharp, pointed, thorough, insightful questions. So you are going to have an amazing Q&A session. You get your drink of water or caffeine or whatever it is that you're going to need right now, because you're going to need it before this Q&A session. All right. All right.
Okay.
Audience, thank you so much for your votes. Let's close this poll and share these results with all of you. All right. We asked, how do you envision using this Google Dealership Playbook in your dealership? Poll results, 55%, the majority of today's audience, say, yeah, this is my new Bible. What? We're going to have regular check-ins with the agency, and we're going to monitor our progress, and we're going to do that every month, is what you said, right, Kelly?
Every month at minimum.
Every month at minimum. All right. Well, happy for you to know more than half of today's audience said they're going to do just that. 38% of today's audience, also a nice big section of today's audience, say they promise they're going to use those best practices and they're going to start mastering those fundamentals. 2% of today's audience say they're going to pass this on to a teammate to tackle. 5% of today's audience say they might reference it every once in a while, and no one thought that this playbook wasn't valuable. So
that's great to hear.
It is great to hear. And Jim said, oh, that 2%, they're probably upper management. That's nice. All right, Damon wanted you to know, Kelly, this presentation was spot on, and thank you so much. All right, so now that we have all of that taken care of, where do we go from here, Cal?
Right, we have a couple of suggested resources for you guys. First and foremost, DealerOn has written a point of view, their thoughts on the new Google Playbook. It's a really well-written article, and I have to admit, it's very fair. There are some things they agree with. There are some things that they think need some caveats. So that's what we expect from all of our agency partners. Hold us accountable, give us feedback, tell us in your experience, is this the right move? Just so you guys all know, too, on the call, we did share this playbook with our agency partners before we launched it, because our agency partners are the ones who are doing God's work here every day. They're the ones who are in AdWords, measuring these campaigns. They're the ones talking to you and providing you great service. So we did need to run this by our agency partners first. It was a collaborative effort. And DealerOn has written a really good blog entry on their thoughts on this new playbook. So if you need a more objective point of view than the point of view from someone who works at Google, that's a really great resource for you. Second is testmysite.thinkwithgoogle.com. That's the one that's going to give you a free report on your mobile page speed and excellence and performance. And then while you're there, thinkwithgoogle.com is just our general blog site that has case studies, best practices. You can filter for automotive only, or if you're interested in learning about advertising practices of other industries, those are there for you as well. So 3 suggested resources, things you could bookmark and spend some time on. And then, of course, we want you to download and print off that one-page checklist. That's the PDF in the handout section here today. Have that handy and just work on through it step by step, and we're going to get all of you into into mastering and differentiators and future growth levers. And then, oh boy, are we going to be selling some cars. And as we already discussed, please, 55% of you, thank you, said that you plan to do this. Please set up those monthly meetings with your agency. And the reason I'm really harping on this is that I do hear from a lot of our agency partners, I'm trying, Kelly, I'm trying. They won't make time for me. They won't call me back. So please do prioritize making time with your agency so that we can check your progress on these dealers.
My dog is barking. Okay. My dog never barks, so I have no idea why he's barking. I apologize for that, audience. All right, I see the big yellow question mark. Audience, you have done a outstanding job of sending me amazing questions today for our presenter, Kelly. We're going to get to those in just a minute. And no, my dog's name's not Google, it's Bacon, but thank you. Thanks, Michael. Okay, so we're going to get to those in just a minute. Before we do, though, I definitely have to send you over to the handouts section of the GoToWebinar interface. All right, look for the word that says handouts. It's kind of low on your interface. It has a little triangle next to it. Click on that triangle, it will open up, and in there you're going to find two great handouts for you. First, you're going to have Kelly McNerney's slide deck from today. Who doesn't want that, right? So get that, download that. It's available for immediate download, and you have until the end of this broadcast to get it downloaded for yourself. And then you have that amazing Playbook one-sheeter that Kelly showed you was the last slide of her formal presentation. So make sure you download both of those items. You're going to need those. We did have somebody, I think it was Chris. Yeah, Chris wrote in. He says, also, aside from the handouts today, is there an actual playbook? Kelly?
Yeah, the actual playbook is what we just went through today. So if you want that entire thing, it's there for you. Talk to your agency about getting your hands on that. I think we have it. Do we have that in the handouts as well, Eliana? I can't remember.
The actual playbook, no. I put the one-sheeter in there, though.
Perfect. So start with the one-sheeter. The actual playbook itself is what we just went through today, and it's recorded. So if you need to see it again, you've got this recorded webinar to reference.
All right, thank you. And by the way, Jim wrote in, he said, sincerely, thank you, Eliana and Kelly, for this presentation. Very good info and so appreciated. I couldn't agree more, Jim. All right, so we're going to get to your questions in just a minute. Before we do that, though, we got some fun to take care of, don't we, Kelly?
We sure do.
We sure do. I'm turning on my webcam for this one. It's that time. If you missed it at the beginning of the webinar, well, I announced that our good friends over at Google, they're giving away some cool prizes today on the webinar. 2 of you lucky webinar attendees are going to win a shiny new Google Home Mini, the hottest gadget on the market. Makes a great gift. The holidays are right around the corner. Who doesn't want one of these, right? So get ready. Get to your keyboards. First person to write in the correct response is going to be winning this awesome prize today. So good luck, everyone. And by the way, if you win, if I say your name, you must immediately stop high-fiving people in your office, but write to me and let me know what dealership you're from, and I'm also going to need your mailing address as well. All right? So Kelly, you can turn on your webcam anytime you're ready. All right, everyone, here we go. Good luck. Here's your first question. We have 2 different questions. You have 2 chances to win. All right? First question. What is the very first step of the Google Dealer Playbook? Oh, there we go. There it is. Oh my God, it's moving so fast because so many people are writing in. Nope. This one. Nope. Oh my gosh, it's moving so fast I can't even stop it. Okay. Michael, oh my God, I can't even say your last name. Rosadevito, Michael Rosadevito. You are today's winner. You were the first person to answer site speed. That's what we were looking for, site excellence and site speed. Congratulations, Michael Rosadevito. My goodness, are you a first time? I know, it's a nice Irish name, I'm sure. So are you a first-time DealerOn webinar winner? I think you are, because I don't recall that name ever coming up before. So you're from Peruzzi Automotive Group. Nice. Hey, Peruzzi, is that over here in the Philadelphia area? Anyway. Yes. He said he is a first-time webinar winner. Yes, it is in Philly. Okay, it sounded familiar. All right. Well, congratulations, Michael. You're going to be getting your prize directly from our friends over at Google. So watch out for that. It's going to be coming soon. Michael, don't forget to send me your mailing address so we can get that out to you. All right, audience, guess what? You have another chance to win, so don't worry about it. Michael, you can sit this one out, my friend. You are already a winner, but we have one more question for everyone. We're going to see who's going to be the winner of this other Google Home Mini, excuse me. All right, here we go. Good luck, everyone. What is a dealer's target click capture for branded ready-to-buy keywords? Oh my God, first person to write in got it correct. Let's see who that was. Nope. Here we go. Adam Denault. Congratulations, Adam. Adam is no stranger to my webinars, and he is today's second winner. All right, so we have Michael Rossa DeVito and Adam Denault. You both are winning a wonderful prize today, Google Home Mini from our good friends over at Google. So expect that in the mail as soon as you get me those mailing addresses. Thank you so much. And everyone else, I know we have hundreds of people on today's broadcast, and you did not win. Ooh, I'm sorry. But you know what? We give away cool prizes every week. It's okay. Come on back to another DealerOn webinar. That could be your lucky day that you win a cool prize on a DealerOn webinar. But for right now, we got Michael Rossa DeVito and Adam Denault, who are our winners today. We got to congratulate them. And of course, we got to thank our good friends over at Google for their incredible generosity. Oh, I'm sorry. The answer was 90%. Thank you for writing in. Yes, the answer was 90%. I don't know why I didn't say that. All right, Kelly, we have so many questions for you, my friend. Are you ready? Did you get liquid in your mouth? You're ready to go?
Ready. Liquefied. Good to go.
Okay,
right.
I am not kidding. We're probably going to be here for the better part until for like another hour answering these questions. So try and answer them as quickly as you can. Okay, Kelly?
Okay. All right.
Here we go. First question came in from Chad. This was really, really early, I think even before the webinar started. He wanted to know business listings, brand management. Where can he go to get some support?
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's not an easy one. So I'm going to assume he's already tried 8662 Google. That's the best place to start for now. I know it's not great, so don't get mad, Chad. If you've really been trying that and you're super frustrated, send an email to Eliana, and if you wouldn't mind, Eliana, sharing that with me, and I'll see what I can do to help you if you're having a real
Chad,
solution.
we're here for you. Thank you so much for that, Kelly. I really appreciate that. All right, next question comes in from Jim. We have a lot of questions from Jim. He's a very, very astute man. Jim says, why does Google allow a dealer not located in a physical location to trump SERP for a store that's actually located in that area? Kelly, is that possible? Is that happening? I mean, do they just have like that good SEO that they can do that?
Yeah, a lot of the reason you show where you show in the SERP is your relevancy to what the user is searching and also the bid that you're willing to pay. So without knowing the specific example that Jim is referring to, either that dealer is willing to pay more to spread into a larger marketing area. Based on Google data, that the average shopper will travel 32 miles to buy a new vehicle. Average shopper will travel 32 miles. So if you're still thinking like your personal marketing area should be this little town around you and nobody else can play there, people will drive a long distance. So you can market to people well beyond the normal marketing area that you may be thinking of. So we don't think that's a bad thing. We think that the user wants a lot of choices. They want to see that the average user will go to 5 different dealership websites before they purchase a car. So we think it's okay that multiple dealership links show up there because they're going to shop several different dealerships.
All right, Jim, thank you so much. He did have a follow-up question too. Jim wanted to know, when will Google Street View allow us to promote the vehicles on our lot at any given moment?
That would be very cool. You know, we did release a Street View camera for consumer use. So Jim, if you want to get a Street View camera and take Street View imagery of your inventory and upload that to Google Maps, you can now do that. So
wow. That's pretty cool. All right, we're going to hear some more questions from Jim in a little bit. Thank you so much for those ones, Jim. We appreciate it. Okay, Dan wrote in, with our Google My Business listing in search results, is there a direct contact for the auto vertical? We had a Google Business Street View photographer come in to update our maps view, which was previously from 2009, but the older Street View is still showing. So how can businesses like Dan get their Street View to be updated? 2009 is, you know, that's a long ways away. That was a whole 8 years ago.
So Dan, underneath your Google My Business listing, there is a little gray link that says feedback. That's how to answer your first question, there's not an automotive specific person on the Google My Business team. Now, my team and their team are trying really hard to work more closely together because, as you know, dealerships are unique businesses. We have sales departments and service departments with different store hours, for example. So we're working with that team to try to customize that product for dealerships. We're going to get there. In the meantime, that little feedback link at the lower right is the best way for you to surface issues like that to the Google My Business team. You just tell them exactly what you told us here today, and that's the best way to do it. They review those every single solitary day, so you will hear back from them.
Oh, Dan, definitely do that. All right. Next question comes in from Michael. He says, will I get a copy of this presentation and slide deck? A link to this recording will be emailed to everyone later today, so be on the lookout for that. It's also going to be posted online within 24 hours at dealeron.com/webinar. And as for that slide deck, you can go right into that handout section right now and download it for yourself so you can have it right away. All right, so thank you so much for that question, Michael. Next question comes in from Dan. He says, we know this is super important. Google My Biz appears in every search result. Today, we just feel like we do not have the same level of customization tool that we're used to from Google. That's Dan's opinion. Will there be more level of customization, you think, in the future? I mean, I know I'm asking you to look into a crystal ball.
Well, that's okay. That's my job. Dan, you're right. It's a challenge right now for dealerships. So we know that Google My Business is really important because it has accurate or sometimes inaccurate information about your business, your location, your phone number, your store hours, your reviews, your photographs. We know we have to get that right, and we know that we are not there yet. So we are continuing to work on that product. The challenge that we face with the customization piece is, we're getting two different conflicting messages from a lot of dealerships. Some of them say, like, anybody should be able to go in and make updates to make sure it's accurate. And the other half say, like, I should be the only one that gets to change information on my dealership. So we're working on that one. We're trying to figure out what the best solution is, because you guys know the age-old issue. You make one person in charge of your listings, your reviews, all your logins, your social, your AdWords, and then that person leaves your dealership,
and then
you've lost access to your YouTube channel and everything. So we do currently have an option where even I could go in right now. I could Google search your dealership, see your Google My Business listing, and submit feedback and say, actually, the real store hours are this. Now, that puts pressure on that team at Google My Business to say, like, is that right? Are these the correct store hours? Or do we have the owner of this account who's actually already uploaded the hours? So the customization piece is a really tricky one for dealerships, but I hear you, and your voice is, you're loud and clear, and it's not unique. You're not alone in this challenge, that we have to make the Google My Business product better, and I promise you that we are working on it. It will be better for dealerships.
Okay, all good news. All right, Dan, thank you so much for that great question. All right, another question from Jim came in. He says, when Google rates dealers on map view, why
oh my
is
God,
it
not a single question about the playbook.
You did an excellent job talking about the playbook. I will tell you this, though, when you talked about video, oh my gosh, we got so many questions about video. So we're getting to them. We are, I promise, okay? These actually came in early. All these questions I'm doing right now, they came in early. You didn't even get into it. Okay. When Google rates dealers on MapView, why do dealers with lower or zero reviews appear when our local store does not?
I have no idea. I need to see exactly that. Yeah, that's I don't know. So I need to see that exact example. So again, if I could just ask you.
A lot of times, we've been told, I think, a lot of dealers recall being told that if a dealership has, a 5-star rating or close to a 5-star rating, that they'll show up higher than somebody who has a 1.2-star rating, for instance. But then you have dealers who have like no stars, like nobody has reviewed them, and they're showing up even higher than people who have, a 4.5-star rating. So I guess the question is, okay, what's the deal with the stars?
Yeah. Are you, when you say showing up higher, he said something about maps in that question, right?
Yeah, on map view. So when instead of looking,
I'll be showing. So I don't know what higher means in map view. Maybe he could clarify, or I could follow up with him on that one.
Okay. All right, Jim, we're going to just table that one for now. We do have 1,000 other questions to get to, but.
Yeah, we'll table that one, but I will say at times having 0 reviews means you have 0 bad reviews. And having, even if you have 4.8 stars, it means you have potentially some 1-star reviews.
Right.
Total guess on my part, to be honest with you. I'm not totally clear on the answer to that question, but okay. Let's follow up with Jim because I want to get an answer to that. I just don't know it right now.
That's good. That's fair enough. All right. Don't worry. We have more questions from Jim coming up. All right. Michael wrote it back in, and he wasn't the only one who asked this, but I'm going to single him out. He said, is the 10 seconds the automotive average? What is that? I mean, because people were asking, all about site speed. We got a few site speed questions right now.
Yeah. 10 seconds is the automotive dealership average. So not even tier 1, just the average dealer website. It's 10 seconds to load on mobile.
Okay, here's another question about site speed. Christopher wrote in, does Test My Site only test the front page of a site? How do we test various inventory pages, for instance, or SRPs?
It tests the entire site. The entire site. So you'll see as you go through that, you'll see like what it's doing. There'll be a progress bar across the bottom of the screen and a list of like exactly what it's looking at. So yeah, it's testing the entirety of the dealership website.
Excellent. Keith's question is, why is this measured on 3G when the U.S. operates higher than 3G now?
Because 70% of U.S. cell phones are accessing the internet using 3G. So you may have more access. Yeah, you have access to 4G or LTE or Wi-Fi, but 70% of phone usage is over 3G.
There you go. All right, Keith, great question. All right, next question from Jim. He says, the past 2 years, the push has been mobile, search speed, video, responsive, etc. Tell me, why has Craigslist continued to dominate the web space? Because they don't have any of that stuff.
No idea.
No idea? Okay. Jim, we don't know.
I don't know that I would consider Craigslist dominating the web. But they do have very relevant content to a search, and they do have high activity and low bounce. It's not pretty. It doesn't have video, but I think that's obviously by design.
And it's never going to get pretty. The guy who owns Craigslist never wants to do anything with it. All right, Jim, thank you so much for the question. All right. Oh, today's winner has the next question. Michael, he says, my website provider, CDK, and DealerOn have been aware of this for quite some time as I asked them to correct ours almost a year ago. It doesn't seem like it's important to them as it is to me, but I gave up asking them to fix it. So should I look for what are we asking them to fix? Michael, I have no idea what you're asking them to fix. So write to me and let me know so we can answer that question, all right? All right, Christopher wrote in, does Google suggest that we pay for our own name in ads? We hate paying so much for our own name when it shows up in organic results.
Yes, we recommend you do that, and there are 2 reasons why. First, when you show up on your own name, 70% of people will click on your organic listing anyway. So great, you're there, you've covered. But the most important reason is that when you appear on both paid and organic, your clicks go up by 88% on average, 88% more clicks. And the reason is you have now, Google will only let you appear 1 time in paid search, but you have now appeared twice on the Google search page because you're #1 in paid and you're #1 in organic. So now when I've searched for your dealership, you're now showing twice. You're giving me brand recognition 2 times. And the third reason, and potentially the most important, I think this is actually the most important reason you buy your own dealership name. You don't have control over what Google surfaces in the organic listing. In the SEO listing, that's all algorithm and artificial intelligence based. And Greg Gifford from DealerOn could help you with that. But you have complete control over the ad copy. So you can put in there contact information, store hours, specials, pricing, all those extensions that you saw Tamaroff Nissan in the example I used. So you get to customize the ad. You don't get to customize the SEO. So that's another reason why that's really important. It's a messaging tool for you on your own dealership name. And if you're paying a lot, let's take a look at that, because that should be the least expensive thing in your ad campaign.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Great question, Christopher. All right. Back to Michael's question. He was talking about site speed. And actually, DealerOn is very concerned about site speed. And we know our sites load very, very quickly. However, the more you add other things onto your site, it's those other things that might be slowing you down. It also might be videos that you have on your site. Again, the site itself loads very quickly, but if you're not going to be putting all these other things, your site would load in 0.8 seconds, you know. But once you start adding all of these different components onto your site, those are the kinds of things that could bring your site speed way down, much longer, I should say, you know. So Kelly, I don't know if you have any further input on site speed with regards to websites.
Images are one of the things that slow sites down the most, images and videos, so they need to be compressed at the right amount. And also, at times, we think if you're forced to choose between a couple of seconds and having images, go with the images and take the couple of seconds, because you need to have those images and videos up there. So Eliana's right. The more we have on dealership sites, you know, we've got chat pop-up windows on dealership sites now, and there's a lot of, you know, you've got the carousels at the top of the page. So like the more functionality you're putting in, sometimes that can slow it down. So then you've got to make the choice. Do you want the carousel or do you want the extra second of time?
Right. And Michael, please bring that up with your service providers, you know, your contacts over at DealerOn. We're always looking to improve websites, especially with site speed. So it's definitely important to us. All right. So thank you so much for your question. We really appreciate it. All right. Next question comes in from Jim. He says, when will Google compile all of the vehicles for sale in an area and page rank them as a search result? Oh my gosh, you're giving them so many ideas, Jim. I was just talking to Kelly about how they do flights now. So
we tried that actually, Jim, in the Bay Area in San Francisco. We had a product, gosh, it was probably 4 years ago now, where at the top of search results we would surface inventory, and then you could click on that, expand it, and shop inventory, and then submit a lead. It did not go well, Jim. It did not go well. We got out of that as fast as we possibly could. Yeah.
Oh,
Google
all right.
does not want to do business. So we kind of tried something similar, because we thought, like we do with many industries, like Eliana, we were talking about like flights. We're like, we could probably do this better than what's currently out there. So now we do have, you know, a flight searching and booking tool, a hotel searching and booking tool, things like that. But for automotive, we dipped a toe in and then said, nope, we're out of here. So not anything soon.
But Jim's throwing a lot of ideas at you today, all right? So, okay, follow-up question from Jim. He says, okay, Kelly, let's get real. If Amazon gets into the car biz, how can we be an early adopter? And Kelly, collect your thoughts on that one, because I want to talk to Jim real fast and everyone else out there. By the way, I have an upcoming webinar on November 2nd with the Queen of Auto herself, Christy Roman, and this is exactly what her topic is going to be about those disruptors that are coming into the auto industry, namely Amazon and that kind of thing. So she's actually going to be talking about that and how to future-proof your dealership and how to be innovative with those kinds of things coming in. So maybe put that on your calendar and let's see what she has to say. But Kelly, we are interested in what you have to say about about such things. Do you have an opinion on this?
Amazon already is in the car business, so they have already partnered with you guys. Is it Volkswagen or Volvo on test drives? Amazon will deliver a test drive to your home for one of those vehicles. So it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, and Amazon is already making strides into the automotive space. So as they should. Buying cars online is probably the future. So every other industry, you know, like we talked yesterday at a meeting about how, you know, now Domino's Pizza has 14 different ways to order a pizza, including sending a text emoji to Domino's. Like if you can order a pizza to your home over text, you know that like buying a car online is coming. So that's my POV on that.
All right, Jim, thank you so much for that question and scaring the crap out of all of us. All right, next question is from David. He says,
you got to be at the forefront to embrace it. Be the one who's providing your inventory online. Be the one who's delivering vehicles to your home, and beat them to it, because you own your business and you're more nimble than Amazon. They're an enormous company. So beat them to it. Just do it first.
Agreed. All right, David asks, will AdWords show us what percentage of keywords we're getting in these areas?
No. So AdWords does not break out by micro moment right now, which is why I've given you that list and that structure so that you and your agency are going to have to kind of do a little bit of manual work on that on your own.
Interesting. All right. Great question, David. All right. Jim wants to know, and same Jim who just asked us that frightening question about Amazon, he wants to know what your thoughts are on virtual reality car shopping.
Jim is cracking me up today. I like it. I'm really into it. So Volvo at the LA Auto Show, I think 3 years ago, did a collaboration with Google Cardboard where they did a virtual test drive and they were handing away the cardboard devices. For those of you who don't know, Google Cardboard is Google's just like $19 VR display where it's a literal piece of cardboard. It's flat and you like assemble it and then you just stick your phone right in the front. So they did virtual test drives at the LA Auto Show and it was a huge hit. I think it's really cool. It's also now really easy to create VR content. Like YouTube has a whole 360 section where you can watch nothing but like VR videos. We have the Daydream Viewer. So like, yeah, our company as well as all the other big tech ones are investing in virtual reality. I think it's kind of neat.
All right. So she likes it, Jim. All right. Next question. Oh yeah. Thanks, Dan. All right. Next question comes in from Liz. Liz wants to know what percentage of paid search should be spent on the dealer's name?
Yeah, great question. So if we're saying 70% of your paid search should be in the last 3 buckets, you will probably see about half of that will be on that middle. Am I getting a deal? That's where the largest opportunity is right now, I should say. So when we look at how dealers are capturing those clicks, the dealers have the most opportunity in the Am I Getting a Deal bucket. That's where dealer click capture is currently the lowest. So that's 50%. So the remaining 25%, 25 for what are the buckets? About 25% for the where do I buy on the dealership, dealer actions, dealer terms, and geo. Now, what percent on the actual dealer name has a lot to do with what your dealership name is. So if you are Toyota Santa Monica, you're going to get a lot higher volume for that dealership name because you have a city name, as opposed to if you're Kelly Toyota, which that all depends on how relevant my brand is, how large my dealership is, the location in a large city, am I a single point? So it varies, but this is something that AdWords will tell you. So when you put your exact dealer name into AdWords, it will tell you what the total opportunity is per day, per month on people searching for that term.
Okay. Liz, great question. Thank you so much for that. Keep those coming in. All right. Next question comes in from Richard. Richard wants to know, how can we get a dealer study for the micro moments? Is that ever going to happen?
Oh, sorry, Richard. What do you mean? A dealer study for the micro moments? You know
yeah,
what I mean?
He wants even more research from you.
Yeah, we could actually probably do a whole webinar on the micro moments framework if you want, like why we did that.
January, let's do it.
Making a note. January micro moment.
I'm going to get that scheduled right away, people. All right. All right, Richard, thank you so much for the question. We got to keep moving. All right, next question comes in from Eric. Maybe a bit off topic, but what is Google's stance, if any, on the slideshows that are frequently used on dealer homepages? You just brought it up when we talked about site speed, about those carousels. Do you have a preference on it? Do we like them? Do we think that
if they are slowing the page down, you need to fix that, would be my first question, and you'll find out if they are or not if you do that free report from Google. Mm-hmm. Also, we have seen a trend where people are going past like the recommended 3 to 5 images, and sometimes there are like 12 different images in that slideshow. I think that's probably overkill. And then final thing is, I would really like to see a day where the website dynamically updates based on the customer. So if I have someone who has searched for a truck and then I come to your homepage, you should just have a truck up there. Like, why do you need to be showing me your buy 3 tires, get one for $1 message if you know I'm a truck shopper who's looking for a truck?
Right.
Forget the carousel, just put the truck up there. So I would really like to get to that point. You know, you get that on Amazon when it's like, here are the things recommended for you. You get that on Netflix, recommended viewing. You get that on YouTube, like videos we think you would like. So users are starting to expect that when I come to your website, you're going to already know who I am and you're going to know what I'm interested in. In that case, if you can get to that point, that carousel is unnecessary because you know exactly what the user's coming to your website to do. Just show them that.
You heard it right from her. All right, Eric, so thank you so much. Great question. All right, next one comes in from Ray. He says, in account structure, he's laying it down right now, Kelly, watch out. In account structure, Are you saying 4 separate ad groups for each make and model, and then 3 ad groups for the dealer?
Am I saying 4 separate ad groups for each make and model? No, I'm saying an ad group for make and model with different ad copy and 3 different ads per group. And then what was the second part? Dealer?
And then 3 ad groups for the dealer. I assume he means the dealer's name.
Yeah, because we need geo. We need a geo ad group, so that's everything that has city, zip code, town, anything that's geo related. And then we need one for your name, so just the name of the dealership. And then we need one for any dealer-related actions, test drive, inventory, things that happen on the biggest actions on your site. So yes, 3 different ad groups on that lowest bucket, which is the where should I buy.
Excellent. All right, Ray, thank you so much. Great question. All right, Jim says, search by mile per gallon value safety has strange and manipulated search results. Why hasn't Google watched this closer? So if you search by safety, for instance, on a car, it skews the search results? Is that what you're saying, Jim? He says yes.
I don't know what he's talking about. Jim, why don't we just have a call, man? You got a lot of questions that I don't understand. Safety.
Okay, Jim has a follow-up question too. He says, how about Gmail users visiting our site being identified uniquely in analytics?
Mm-hmm.
That's his question.
Yeah?
Oh. The answer is yes.
What was the question? I don't know. Jim, seriously, man, one-on-one.
Jim says, okay, I know, I have too many questions for you.
There are too many, it's just they don't make any sense.
I told you Jim had a lot of questions today. All right, let's go to the next one. Jim, you're awesome. Thank you so much. All right, next question comes in from David. He says, does our SEM vendor have to use customer match, or can we upload it ourselves?
You can upload it yourselves.
Excellent. All right, follow-up question from David. He says, when it comes to video, should the dealer use OEM videos on their own YouTube page, or should dealers be creating their own videos?
Dealers should be creating their own videos. There is an iPhone app called YouTube Director for Business that is free in the iTunes store, the Apple App Store, whatever. You download that app and you can create your own custom videos that walks you step by step on how to do it. It's called YouTube Director for Business. It's step-by-step instructions on how to create a video, and there's even automotive examples in the app, so you can see there's a Toyota dealership in the Bay Area that piloted this with us, and you can see how they created walk-arounds and the dealership sales video and all that. So absolutely create your own custom videos, please.
And as a matter of fact, didn't we do a webinar together on that specifically? I believe we did. And David, you're probably on it. So if you don't remember, go to dealeron.com/webinar and check that one out where Kelly talks about specifically about YouTube videos that dealerships should be making. All right. So thank you so much for the great question. Next one comes in from Matt. Matt says, customer match re-engage question. Do customers have to have a @gmail.com email address to maximize this feature, or are all email addresses applicable?
Great question. All email addresses are applicable. The only way we can't reach someone who doesn't have Gmail is in Gmail. So we can still target on YouTube and on Google search, someone who has, for example, like a Yahoo email address. We just can't target that person on Gmail because they don't have a Gmail account. So all email addresses are applicable. The only shortcoming is that we can't target them on Gmail if they don't have a Gmail address.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. All right, next question. Okay, next question comes in from Joey. Hey, Joey, how are you? Joey says, can I upload my sold customer list into AdWords to match my sold customers to AdWords impressions and clicks? Kelly, I think we lost you. Kelly, can you see me? We lost you.
You're back.
Oh, there you are.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't hear the question. I lost audio for a second. Can you repeat that one?
All right, yes. Joey asks, can I upload my sold customer list into AdWords to then match my sold customers to AdWords impressions and clicks?
Yep. It's the best way to do it is exactly what you're talking about. So you upload different buckets of users. So like, give us your entire CRM, give us all the email addresses of all your customers, but then help us make some sense of it. So say, these are the people who bought from me but haven't been back for service. These are the people who are coming off of lease. These are the people who just bought from me and I want to just send them like a thank you kind of message. And so yes, absolutely, sold customers, and then you track by bucket. You can track impressions and clicks and traffic by audience list.
All right. Thank you so much. Great question, Joey. All right. Wanted to let you know, Jamie wrote in, he says, oh my gosh, awesome information, and it's from the source. So he was very excited about today's presentation. Gabrielle wrote in, and she said, and this was when you showed that crazy slide with the videos and how many were being viewed and stuff like that. Okay, so she said, when you say online videos is the top way to find out about new vehicles, do you mean YouTube only, or is that general video across all digital formats?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's general online video. So online video was stated, not YouTube specifically. But then when we ask the follow-up question, okay, great, where do you go to watch online video? YouTube is the #1 destination. So it includes everybody, YouTube being the #1 online video provider.
All right, very cool. All right, thank you so much for that, Gabrielle. All right, we had a number of people who took umbrage, let's say, with your 80% skip rate. What? They want to know, like Jim, for instance, is 80% skip rate. How do we improve that? And he wasn't the only one. Bill said, well, what is a good target skip rate? You know, so we had actually, there were just a few of the people who had asked about the skip rate. Is that something that can be improved upon? Does the ad matter, or is it just 80% is? What's
Gotcha. Okay, so great question, guys. Let me clarify that that's the automotive average. So that does include tier 1. So hopefully your targeted in-market dealership video, because you're going to surface it to only people in your area who are in-market shoppers, your skip rate will be much better than that. But, you know, even like movie trailers, which everybody loves to watch, even those have a more than 50% skip rate. So that's okay for you, because it just means the person who was watching that ad is not interested in your product. And that's okay that they're not interested because you're not getting charged for that ad. So the fact that they're skipping it is a way for you to actually determine and siphon off who's really a target customer for you and who's not interested in your message. But there are ways to improve that. For example, your ad does play for 5 seconds before they have the option to skip. So it's really important that you capture them in that first 5 seconds with something that's going to be a hook to keep them watching. Right. So we've seen some really extreme examples, like it wasn't the ASPCA, but it was an animal shelter where there was a man standing there holding a puppy, and he had a car jack on the skip ad button. So he like manipulated the video where it looked like there was a car jack on the skip button video, and then next to the puppy, and he was like, if you hit that skip ad button, this puppy gets electrocuted.
No, he didn't.
It was awesome because of course you're like,
did it work?
No, it can't actually happen, right? But like, you're not going to hit the skip
ad
button.
I mean, did it work? Did people like not hit the skip button?
Like, what? And then they watch the ad and say, thank you for watching. You saved a puppy. If you want to save more animal lives, please make a donation to this link for this shelter. And yes, you could Google it and find it. It's fantastic. He got like coverage, went viral. He got coverage in all the trades. It was awesome. And then, of course, what matters the most, as a result, he did actually drive a ton of donations for the animal shelter. So there are ways. That's one very extreme way to grab someone's attention in the first 5 seconds. But it's important to grab their attention early so that they're not just sitting there waiting for the skip ad button to pop up, but like you get their attention and maybe they want to like stick with you for this. Also, make your ad shorter so they're less likely to skip if they know it's a short message. So if you've got a 2-minute ad, you're going to have a very high skip rate in the last minute plus of your ad. If you have a 20-second ad, they still have the opportunity to skip, but it's a lower opportunity because you're getting the message in and out.
All right, thank you. Great answer, great question. All right, let's keep going because we still have so many more questions, and I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get through all of these. All right, Bill wrote in, what % of impressions lead to a view? And this is, of course, when we were talking about the videos.
What percentage of impressions lead to a view? So if we have an 80% skip rate, it means 20% of impressions lead to a view. So Google counts impressions. We monitor those for you, like how many people actually saw some portion of the video, and that is reported in the campaigns. But what you're charged for is the actual completed view itself. So about 20% of impressions result in a view.
Okay, all right, great. Thank you so much for the question, Bill. All right, next question comes in from George. He says, this presentation is perfect. All the stuff I've been trying to find the right words and data for are right here. My management are definitely going to be seeing this. It totally derails the old school methods of automotive thinking. That one came from George, by the way. So thank you, George.
Wow, thanks, George. I'm happy to hear that. Thanks.
Okay, so Michael had a question. He says, how many ads per month to create on average?
Yeah, good one. All right, so I say start with at least 3 and then rotate them. See which ones get the highest view-through rate. That's your best ad. So that's the one that people like to watch. Get rid of the other 2 and go make 3 more that are like the highest viewed one and just keep repeating that process. Now, you don't want a same ad to be in market for probably longer than 3 months. So once it's been running for 3 months in your market, retire it, make a new one. So your creative has to be fresh. At minimum, start with 3. There are dealerships who make 50 a month. There are dealerships who make 1. I think you start with 3. At the end of the first month, see which one performed the best, get rid of the other 2, and go with the best performing one and more like it.
All right. Great question, Michael. Thank you. All right. Tamara says, what if we have been doing video before? Can we still take advantage of the promotion?
Tamara, there is some fine print on that puppy. That just does need to be more a new CID. But I still think that you should email dealer-youtube@google.com and let us find out. Let us take a look and find out if you're eligible.
That's fair enough. All right, Tamara, thank you so much for that. All right, next question from today's winner, Michael. He says, what does the average auto dealer spend on Google products per month? Because I do not think we spend enough, but it's hard to gauge that without knowing the industry average in northeastern Pennsylvania, southern New Jersey, New York even.
Yeah, the average dealer should spend $14 million a month on Google. So if you're beneath that number, it's
14 million.
14 a month. No, that's not true. That's another hard one to answer because that varies greatly by store size and also by market. So
yeah, I imagine rural dealerships don't spend nearly as much as ones in big cities. So
yeah,
I don't know.
But the opportunity is available for you in AdWords. So again, if you take our playbook and you focus on those micro moments, those ready-to-buy micro moments, and all the keywords, the brand, make, model keywords that go along with those, and use those on broad match, modified match type, Google, as your campaign runs, will start to tell you you're capped by budget. And now you know, like, oh, there's more demand out there than I'm not yet capturing, so I've got to ratchet that budget up a little bit more. And if it's still capped, meaning more people are searching for you and you're not appearing because your budget was too low, like you've already spent your budget for the day and it's 2 o'clock and there's still more people searching, AdWords will tell you which keywords need more investment and which keywords you're covered off on. So you can actually get like a customized spend recommendation from AdWords campaigns itself.
All right. Michael, thank you so much for the great question. All right, next question comes in from Chuck. I think this might be his first question. He says, I'm a believer in video. How are search results affected by duplicate content? For instance, using the same copy in a YouTube description as on your website, Google+, and other places. If duplicate content hurts search results, how much should copy be changed so Google doesn't consider it duplicate?
Yeah. Okay. So on your website, your copy around the video needs to be much less than it does to be like on YouTube search. So on YouTube or in search, remember, you're writing copy that's trying to like get action. You know, like you're writing copy that's supposed to entice the click or the view. On your website, you don't need to do that. They're already there. The video's in front of them. Most people, when they're on a website and come upon a video, will watch the video. So you don't need to write any ad copy for that content on your website. Now, having that video on your website and on YouTube is good. That's not considered duplicate content. That's just the same content in multiple locations, which is a recommended best practice. But the ad copy itself, yep, it does take more time to do that right, but the ad copy needs to be different by platform. So I hope that answered that question.
Chuck, thank you so much for the great question. All right, let's get to this question from Ali. Ali says, our dealership structures our AdWords into separate accounts for each make we carry, advertising the brand's vehicles along with our dealer terms. We have 7 make accounts along with a separate account for service and another one for parts to encompass all service and parts search queries for all brands. For example, Ford, Chevrolet, Buick, etc. would be the campaigns with service and parts ad groups. Would we be better off pooling the service and parts keywords into separate ad groups within our make accounts instead of having them in a separate account?
You could. So this seems like maybe you have too many accounts, but that's not necessarily the case. So the fact that they have new car and parts and service separated is fantastic. Now, could you still do that under like you have one account and you have different campaigns? Yep, that's one way to do it. But I would ask your agency about that, pose that question to them and say like, hey guys, would it be better for us if we just had a parts and service campaign in the account for this dealership? And they can tell you the rationale behind doing that. But the takeaway that I'm getting from that question is that like at least you don't have everything piled into one account and one campaign. You've got 10,000 keywords in one group. So I'd say you're in a better spot than most, but definitely pose that question to your agency and find out why they've done it that way and if they would consider doing it your recommended way instead.
Fair enough. All right, Ollie, thank you so much for the great question. Unfortunately, we don't have time, I don't believe, unless something has changed. Don't think we have any time to go over any more questions, maybe one more question, and then we have to close out the show, or how long do I have you for, Kelly?
Yeah, we can do, oh, it's 11. We can do another question. Let's do another question. Let me see how
Do
far
one
away
more
this meeting is.
question? Oh, I got to pick one question out of all these great questions. Ooh.
How many more do you
I know you're late.
have?
Okay, let's do.
Let's go for 5 more minutes if people still want to hang around. If we have anyone, 5 more minutes.
They're not leaving. Are you kidding? Of course they want to hang around. Okay, let's do this one from Joe. Joe says, you mentioned expanding to other metrics besides lead submissions. What specifically?
Okay, so specifically we were talking about attribution modeling in this dealer playbook, but things like time spent on site, engagement on site, we would really love to see people start monitoring things like store visits, store sales from your search campaigns. So are you monitoring like from the click, the path to conversion and matching it back to the sale? That's a much better way to do it than like, did I get a lead form out of this or not? So we would rather have you tag your site in all the appropriate ways and match it back to your CRM tool to say, these are the clicks that I got from Google search, looking at Google Analytics, these are the paths to conversion that those clicks resulted in, and then did those drive a visit, an appointment, or ultimately a sale. So that would be better than like, how many lead forms did I get?
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Great question, Joe. Thank you so much. All right. Next question comes in from Paul. Paul says, our dealership gets a lot of service calls from Google paid search. Are there any ways to get more sales calls? That is the trick, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, keep in mind, you're always going to get more service calls because you service more vehicles than you sell in a given day. Well, unless you're magical. So your service customers are always going to outweigh your sales. You get your vehicle serviced 3 times a year. You buy a vehicle once every 3 years. But yes, if you want more sales calls, then focus on those ready to buy micro moments. Make sure you're covered off on people who are looking for lease offers, specials, financing, all of those. Am I getting a deal? Where to buy micro moments? Because those are the people who are the very lowest point of the funnel. They're ready to make a decision, and you want a phone call from those people. Mm-hmm. So in your AdWords campaigns on those ready to buy micro moments, make sure that you have call extensions enabled on all of those campaigns. So if they do a search for a lease of a vehicle that you sell, your phone number pops right on up there in the ad. So nice. Call extension, ready to buy keywords.
Okay, Paul, I hope that helps you out, sir. All right, we want to know, different Jim wants to know, is PageRank still important, yes or no?
Yeah, PageRank is what powers the Google search algorithm.
So yes. Oh, yeah. All right, next question comes in from Jennifer. She says, is there an industry standard for bounce rate?
I don't know. I don't know if there is. If there is, I don't know it.
Okay.
So, Jennifer, can I follow up with you and find out if we have an industry standard for bounce rate on dealer websites?
All right. All right. Okay, next question. Well, I think you talked about this. Keith asked, will Google ever provide multi-attribution reporting instead of last click?
Yeah, we do now.
We do now. Absolutely. I love it. All right, thanks, Keith.
Last click is default, Keith, so it automatically defaults to last click, but it would be great if you would go in and change that in your account because we do offer much more sophisticated types of attribution modeling.
Right. Okay, great. And then next question from Adam. He says, can we create our own Google Business Tour and when?
Google Business Tour? Is this another Google My Business question? Or is he actually wanting to tour Google?
I don't know. He says, it says Google Business Tour and it's capitalized. Yes, he wrote in yes, GMB page.
So you want to schedule a tour of your GMB page? That's another question I don't understand.
I think it's like a video that you can put on your Google My Business, like a walkthrough of your dealership. That's what I thought. So it's a walkthrough of your dealership that you can put on your Google My Business page.
Ah, great. Yeah, you don't need me to do that. Absolutely. Yeah, you can. I think I mentioned we now have Street View cameras for customer use. So you can get your own Street View camera and do a whole virtual tour of the inside of your dealership and add that to your Google My Business.
Okay, so how does he get one of those Street View cameras?
Google it, man. Google Street View camera. We also don't necessarily need that specific camera. There was someone on the webinar who said she was a Google photographer, so maybe we could connect those two people and she could do that for you.
I know, Nicole, where are you?
Yeah. There are video companies. So if you do a Google search for like video companies near you, that will come in and do that for you. So yeah, you can absolutely do a 360 tour of your dealership and add it to your dealerships.
Oh, very cool. And just so you know, Adam, sweetheart Dan, who's on here, he says, I have one of those cameras. If he's close to New York, I'll go for a drive. That was nice of you, Dan. Thank you. So sweet. Awesome. I love it. Dealerships helping dealerships. But Dan, thank you. That was really kind of you. Adam did write back. He says, I'm a little far from New York. But thank you. That's really nice of you. All right. Let's see. Let's do a couple more questions, then we'll close out the show. Okay, Kelly?
Okay.
Okay. Ray wants to know, how do you feel about targeting competitors that are the same make and even competing makes? I mean, what do you think about targeting when it comes to paid search?
Okay. I think that make and model searches and city name searches are fair game. I think it is a mistake to target another dealership's name, not only because it's rude, but because it's actually ineffective. So we have looked at these campaigns over time, conquesting another dealership name. So Kelly Toyota, and I buy Eliana Toyota all day long, and I try to get people to click on Kelly Toyota. And you've seen this, I'm sure. People do like some sort of deceptive ad copy in there to make you think you're clicking on Eliana Toyota instead of Kelly Toyota example. We've analyzed a bunch of those campaigns. And while they do sometimes generate clicks, paid clicks that you're paying good money for, the conversions on those are incredibly low. So one dealer in particular approached me at a meeting and said, like, you're wrong, you should conquest another dealer's name. I get so many clicks. And I said, do you mind if I just look? Can I have permission to access your AdWords account? Because I'm so sick of this.
Right.
So he said, yes, absolutely. We opened up my laptop, and he was right, 81 clicks on the keyword dealership name across town. Same make, competing name. And I said, look at that, 81 clicks, and you paid $4 for each one of those. Thank you so much for your almost $400. Great doing business with you. Let's scroll over to the right where it says conversions. What do you see there? 81 clicks and how many conversions? And it was 0. Because everybody who thought they were searching for that dealership name clicked on the guy across town and then said, wait, this isn't what I wanted, and left. So that's why we say do not buy another dealership's name. A customer comes to Google because they want to go to the website they've entered into search. They're searching for a specific dealership. That's where they want us to take them. So if you interfere in that process, you're spending good money on bad business results.
Drop the mic, Kelly McNerney. Yes. All right. So we hope that helps you out. And Ray wrote back and he says it makes sense. Thank you for your opinion. Okay. Let's do one more and then we'll close out the show. Christopher wrote in, does Google consider reviews and content from Facebook, Instagram, cars.com, etc., and how we are shown in organic?
Reviews, yes. Facebook, no. Although your web traffic, your amount of web traffic is a factor in where you show in organic. So if you have this great Facebook presence or Yelp or one of those other websites that you mentioned, and it's driving a lot of traffic to your site, that could potentially help you. But we don't specifically look at like those other platforms to see your presence there. That doesn't determine where you appear in Google search. It's more about the content of your website and the relevance to what the user is searching than anything else.
Okay, I lied. I have one more question for you. Thank you, Christopher, for your question. Last question, and it's about the playbook, so I figured we better ask it. Okay, Keith wrote in. He wants to know, was this playbook compiled with Google's move to personalization in mind? So, like, we really want to know, what was the motivation? Was it just Brian Benstock saying, hey, no, just tell me what to do? Well, why did you make this playbook? We love it. Don't get us wrong. I just want to know what the motivation was.
Yeah, I'm a big Brian Benstock fan, so I was happy to put him in a slide, and he was okay with it. But yeah, as much as he did and does motivate us to do better for dealers, get smarter, get faster for dealership business, it wasn't just Brian Benstock. So the reason is because my team and I are out in the field constantly, and as you can see from this Q&A session, there are just a lot of questions that dealers have about how to best use Google. So we're a team of 11 who's trying to do the best job we can answering all these questions, and finally we're like, you know what, we just need to give them a resource. We have to give everybody a finite, simple, hopefully easy to understand playbook that just is going to finally answer all of the questions that we know you have, and you spend a lot of your time and a lot of your money with Google trying to get better business results for your store. So we wanted to just have a level set of here are the checklists that you should do. Another question we have, Eliana, is about agencies. Like, how do I know if my agency is doing this right? How do I know if my agency really knows how to do Google with my best interest at heart? So that's another reason why we're like, here we go. Here's the answer. So if your agency is doing all of this for you, great agency, stick with them. If they're not, maybe you're the problem. Maybe your agency would like to do that for you, but you're not calling them back. Or maybe it's time to move on to an agency that will do this for you. So the move towards personalization, absolutely. We want dealers to be in a better position now. So if you're in foundational fundamentals, we want to get you up to brilliant basics as soon as possible, because this business is evolving constantly and it's not going to slow down. So we don't want you to get left behind. If you're in foundational fundamentals, let's check those boxes and get you into basics and then on to differentiators, because the pace is going to continue. And if we leave you with your questions unanswered, it's going to be really hard for you to catch up a year from now or 2 years from now. So we have to try to get everybody on the same page now. That's where it really came from. That and Brian Benstock.
Kelly, seriously, consider minds all across the United States blown from today's presentation. You slayed it, and I know you answered a whole slew of questions. I'm not so sure that there aren't a lot more questions coming up behind that, though, because I mean, this is just this is a game changer. It's earth-shattering stuff that you were putting out there today, and I thank you so much for bringing it to us. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, and I'm sorry, we originally were going to do this in August, and then so we kept delaying you, Eliana, so thank you so much for being patient with us at Google, and thanks for the opportunity to talk to all of your dealers. I really appreciate it, and I love the questions. Jim, I'm just teasing if you're still there. I love your questions. They're fun. I just don't know how to answer all of them.
I got to tell you, there's at least 15 other questions from Jim I didn't even ask you. I mean, I'm saving them for you. He has great suggestions, great insight, lots of questions. I have no idea if you're going to be able to answer. We'll get you in touch with Jim so you can figure it out, okay? Thank you so much. People are writing in right now, and I got to close out the show. So if you can go back to that slide so we can get those knocked out. And audience, you can reach Kelly on Twitter, and she's going to be at the upcoming Women in Automotive Conference. You're not going to want to miss that. Definitely check her out over there. The Women in Automotive Conference is going to be December 10th and 11th in Palm Springs, California, right during the cold season. It's going to be awesome. We're going to be focusing on training and retaining women in our industry to improve their skills, advance their careers, find the highest levels of success. If you want to make your way to Palm Springs in a couple months, well, heck, we'd love to see you. I'm going to be the MC there. So come on. You're going to love it. It's womeninautomotive.com. I really hope we see you there. And I want to let you know, yes, this webinar is going to be posted online within 24 hours. So make sure you tell your family and friends about it. Check it out. Go see the recording again. And yes, after the show concludes in just another minute, you're going to get a survey. It is 3 short questions. I'm asking you now, please fill out the survey. We want to know what you thought of today's presentation. I mean, hell, I thought it was incredible, but my opinion apparently doesn't matter. Yours does, however, so we want to hear from you. We want to know what you thought of today's presentation, and we want to know if you have suggestions for other topics that you'd like to see from Google, all right? So get that questionnaire in, please. It really means a lot to us. And the Beard and the Hair, they're headed back to Vegas October 21st to the 23rd to host some sweet breakout sessions at the Driving Sales Executive Summit. It's going to be at the Bellagio, and they're going to be presenting Dr. Feelgood's Rockin' Prescriptions to keep your digital marketing off the crazy train. It's all about how to get your SEO and your pay-per-click strategies ready for the new year. You're not going to want to miss it. And by the way, if you have groups of 4 or more, you can get $100 off of each ticket. Yeah, you want to find out more about the Driving Sales Executive Summit? Then visit DSES.com. We hope to see you there. And invitations are going to be going out tomorrow for another amazing DealerOn webinar. Whew, Lead Handling Like a Rock Star 2.0. Wow. Do you think your leads suck? Let me tell you, on average, over 80% of the advertising budget in a dealership is spent just trying to get the leads into your CRM. Less than 3% is spent learning how to convert those leads into actual buyers. That's crazy. Do you want to know how to convert internet leads like a rock star? Well, let me tell you, when it comes to learning about the best lead conversion strategies, we called in the automotive industry lead handling rock star to show us the way. Bobby Heron has been putting dreams in driveways for over 16 years. She's ready to share her proven lead conversion strategies with you. Join this 1-hour jam-packed with information webinar and learn how to solve some of the biggest issues in lead handling. The best part? These automotive goodies are all free, and the only investment you'll have to make is your time. Attendees of this captivating and fast-paced presentation will learn what a first response should actually include, how often and for how long you should follow up, and how to create conversations that get people to engage with you, and so much more. This presentation is only for those ready to dominate their market, close more leads, and reap the huge benefits that await. All others, well, you just need not apply. Whether you're a salesperson, an internet manager, a sales manager, or a general manager, listen, don't miss this chance to hear from one of the brightest stars of the automotive industry. If you're ready to learn lead handling like a rockstar 2.0 and make some big money, you can't afford to miss this webinar, so register now. And don't forget, DealerOn's weekly webinars are always held Thursdays, 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions regarding our webinars and our topics, well, we'd love to hear from you. So reach out to us. Again, my name is Eliana Raggio. I'm everywhere. I'm on all the automotive social networks. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Google+, you name it. I'm everywhere. You know what? You could just email me directly at eliana@dealeron.com. Thank you all so very much for spending this time with us today, and I hope to see you all on another webinar in our continuing education series. Take care, everyone. Stop recording. Stop.